Hi there everybody, my name is Kate and welcome to my channel, Trinergy Awakens Naturally. So I'm feeling like this is a download that's for some very specific folks, probably people that I used to know, I'm not really sure. It's relevant to whomever it's relevant for. This is Mercury retrograde, it's a timeless message, so if things are freaky and this applies, then please let it apply, and if it doesn't, let it fly. We're getting return on our investments, whether they were really great or not so great or just something neutral in between. Mercury retrograde brings us back to those places of looking at where could I have chosen better, generally speaking. However, it can also show us some really good stuff too. It's a matter of where we're standing on that karmic wheel. And the last couple of days, sleep has been very, not disturbed exactly, but very busy with a lot of, input from outside influences that I don't deal with. Really, I just don't deal with, and I don't generally dream. So when I keep getting brought to these same themes, like what is it that I need to know about this? And what I usually do whenever I'm plagued by something, if 111, thank you, I have nightmares, I have whatever, I have whatever's going on, actually not nightmares, I don't really have those, just disturbing, gross, go away stuff. I jump headfirst into it and make a video and talk about it, because the way to deal with whatever we're going through is not to run away from it or not to try to cast it off on somebody else or to try to find a reason why I shouldn't deal with it. If it's coming up in my dream, I'm gonna need to own that, because either someone is throwing it and it's making its way to me, or it's something within me, but it's within me to deal with no matter where it's coming from or how it's sourced. And I believe very strongly that I know for myself, my spiritual team would not allow me to be experiencing something that could not benefit me. That's not how this system works. So the deal is, though, is that as this stuff is coming, there are a lot of people that are suffering, and it's at their own hand. They've caused things that have brought their own demise to them. And that brings me a great deal of sadness. You can see, bags and all kinds of stuff. Though it brings me sadness, and it does not bring me any sense of, yay or anything like that, to know that people are suffering from their own decisions. I have suffered from my own decisions too, and I know how hard it is to feel the shame and to feel the guilt and to feel the, oh my God, I wish I hadn't done that. I do understand that. However, what I don't understand is not assuming responsibility when it's so much in your face, and then still trying to, throw it off on somebody else. So angry, so bitter, so jealous, just so filled with hate. That is not something that I understand, because that's just not the way that I operate. And it never has been, to just be filled with hate and not want someone else to reach their healing. I very much want people to reach their healing, and I also understand that I will help tuck you in, perhaps, if that's what I'm asked to do. However, I'm not going to crawl into bed with you. So when we're assisting people as they're going through their karma, especially if they're going through karma related to a direct interaction with us, woo, Buttercup, 313, that's a very, very, very calculated and strategic maneuvering from my end, that I take that stuff very seriously and take it into confidence with my spirit team immediately of why is this here for me, and what is it that you would like me to do with this energy, because I'm not going to tuck anyone in that I'm not supposed to, nor am I ever going to jump into bed with you if I'm tucking you in. We don't have that kind of relationship. If I'm tucking you in, that implies something else, that you need something else. You need nurturing, you need mothering, you need something that I'm happy to provide when I'm happy to provide that. And it's not a pejorative thing to look at someone and say, well, it's because they're this, or because they're going through karma, it's because of that. No, that's very guided and directed from in here of, I know when to offer my assistance, and I know when not to, because I just used to blindly give everything to everybody, until I was half dead, and so addicted to ways to run away and find other means to cope with what was going on in my world, the disparity between, I feel like I'm giving out everywhere and I'm not really feeling fed inside of me. I don't feel my connection internally, because I wasn't internally connected. What I was connected to was a codependent and toxic cycle that did not serve anyone that I was with, and doesn't serve anyone else anywhere they are either. It's a cycle that doesn't work, and it's leaving. However, those people that just refuse to believe that, or refuse to go with the flow of this, that it's time that everybody pick up their own cross, stop trying to stomp on somebody else's cross and make it harder to bear, and stop pretending like we don't have a cross to bear. We all have our own stuff. And the more that we really dig into that, and how can I carry my own burden, stop whining about the fact that I have one, because there is nobody on this planet that does not have a burden of some kind. And when we make comparative study about theirs is more, theirs is less, or I deserve, all of those things, those are all the old paradigm, and they do not serve, they don't work. Then you're asking people to tuck you in at night, and crawl in with you and carry the burden with you. That's how we end up in these toxic cycles and the codependency that we're, moving out of. And it's really wrenching a lot of people's brains, their hearts, and their minds. And emotionally unstable people, before this whole press started and the eclipse and, oh my, the year of justice, emotionally unstable people, they're really cracking apart at the seams, and I can hear them. I can see them in my dreams. I can really sense and feel and smell all of the, like, ooh, that's a holy hell right over there. However, the best way that I can really assist that is to allow that process to happen, to know that this is something that we're all going through, and how you're experiencing it, I cannot jump in there with you. 555, thank you. Change is quite alive, and I'm going to go with that. Even when it hurts, even when it makes me cry, even when I'm sad, even when, I wish it wasn't that way. I don't spend a whole lot of time in the, oh, I wish, all I can do really is to say I need to separate from you, whoever, whatever, that is your path. My path is to deal with the grief I have, knowing that there is suffering happening, and know that I suffered already and still do, because there's somebody trying to get into bed with me, or ask me to get into bed with them. I suffer at some level if it's still bothering me. And so I have a greater priority to deal with that, because the greater good of the entire global movement here is really what's my priority. It's not to deal with individual people who are butthurt or, crushed emotionally or whatever it is, because I had to deal with my own. And it's not to say that I had to deal with my own, therefore I don't help you or offer compassion. It isn't that. It's that we have to grow the spiritual muscle of carrying our own burdens. That's the whole problem with the age of Pisces, is that we were foisting off and finding somebody to blame and finding somebody to shame and getting somebody to, carry our burdens for us. That's what that whole system was about. And now that it's equaling out, and this is got a trash truck coming, I hope you can still hear me, that as this system is balancing out and equalizing, it becomes necessary for us to really carry our own burden. And if I'm on a battlefield as a combat medic, look, Fred, you're gonna have to carry your own head. I'll carry, your canteen, or, maybe your weapon or something. But I can't carry every body part for you, especially if I've got my, left leg blown off and I'm carrying that already. You're gonna have to carry some sense of you and some sense of your burden, even if I help you temporarily. However, if I'm tapped out, and I'm at my max capacity, then I'm not gonna be able to help you at all. And if the best that, a person is gonna come up with is, well, if so-and-so won't help me, I guess I'm done, or screeching and crying and carrying on, it's to please use that energy in a better way. Please use that passion for I need help and that victimization and all that in a better way. To start picking up your head, Fred, and keep that shit moving, because we're not in the place anymore. Thank you, 808 just passed. We're not in that place anymore where we can codependently be dragging other people with us. A lot of people are barely alive energetically, no matter what they're doing out here in 3D, and there's chaos, madness, destruction, all this stuff happening everywhere, because we're in the birth canal, and it's a rough birth, man. This is not an easy one. This is a traumatic birth for a lot of people. And as we're going through that transformation and coming into new earth energies, we need to start identifying with new ways of coping with those new earth energies, which is pick up your head, Fred, and deal with what is there. And don't ask me to get into bed, Fred, with you in your head. On the battlefield back there, we're both going to get taken out. And the greater good needs to be for the greater good, not for what's the best for one person. The good of one person versus the good of the many. The good of the one versus the good of the many. I think that's from Star Trek. It may be from somewhere else, but I remember hearing it on Star Trek, that the good of the one is no longer where we're at with this. It's the good of the many. I serve, a greater agenda, because that's what I'm here to do, and that's what I'm passionately committed to. And I don't expect that everybody else follow my path. However, I do expect that you're going to respect my path and get out of my path, stop, stay in your own lane. And if you choose to stay in my lane and you get run over, then, can you really, really legitimately and logistically ask that person, me, anybody, that you're in someone else's lane and you get run over, then that's the price and the consequence that we pay when we're not working in our own way. This is no longer the time where we can ask combat medics to come and save us, especially if we are one. Find your own combat medic within you, and if that's not really what you do, then surrender to the process that you're going to need to wait for the next one. If you're still screaming, kicking, carrying on, you're going to need to wait for the next combat medic and let this move on. This is a multi-casualty incident, and we're in a triage system where my triage got, brutal, 10-10, thank you, it seems. However, I'm quite compassionate and quite able to render aid to people. However, not aid to people who you have the ability to carry some part of your burden, and I can't carry all of it for you anyway, nor can I carry the small portion that I might carry long term. This is a short term thing to get you through until you can gather the strength and the wits about you to carry your own head, Fred. That's really where this is. It's no longer in that place because we're transitioning, and without recognizing that transition, without respecting that transition, and without giving it the authority that it really deserves and is taking, I'm not in charge of this. I'm just going with it. And when we do not respect that process, we end up on the battlefield looking around going, we'll hop in here, especially if we're the opponent. What you expect the opposition to be taken care of before the people that are working for the same team. That's the brutality of war here on Earth that we see. And it's the brutality of war in Energy 1111 as well, that when we're choosing hell, we are choosing hell. And the minute that we stop playing that way and we surrender to this process, then we're choosing the right way. We're choosing the light way, 1122. However, for as long as someone's going to be working in the dark, they're the opposition, and I'm not here to help you first. That's not my priority. The good of the one, that would be serving one and one's ego, because it's our ego that's lying on a battlefield that will take our whole body with it. It sure will. However, it's our battle with our ego that leaves us on the field, 1144, looking at the rest of the world and wondering why they're not coming to my aid, or why they don't do this, or how come she has or they have, or what can I do to stop them, throwing a grenade from the lying down, nearly dead position. What are you doing, Fred? Capture your head right quick, and please stop this process. And I cannot do anything except allow people to, tuck them in with, yeah, that's your process, 1212. It's your process, friend. It's not mine. I choose differently. It doesn't make me better than you. It means that I'm going to operate in this environment with far more tactical and strategic skills than you, if that's what you choose to do, because I'm going with what I know to do, and that is to pick up my burden, pick up my cross, and walk that shit, carry it, and then dump it right where I'm told to every time that I'm given the opportunity to unload my burden. And part of my burden cannot be picking up your burden with you or for you. That's the old system, and it clearly doesn't work. It's clearly going down, and you see clown towns just filling up with people everywhere that, no, please don't come in and ask light workers and star seeds and chosen people, however they're identifying, people that work in energy. We understand a higher cause here, and people that don't, I'm sorry they don't. I wish they wouldn't, and I wish they would, get something better going. However, that's an ego battle that has to happen in one's own yard. It has to happen in their own battlefield, and they have to admit that, yeah, I'm not right here. I'm not correct. I'm failing and falling down. If I'm in a victim state, there's something that I need to do to recreate and to build something anew. And without taking those initial steps, we can't reach out here and ask anybody else to save us. Believe me, I understand the process because I was the whole process. I was victimized all the time. I spent a lot of time, feeling very victimized and being very victimized. So I understand the cycle, and I have great compassion for it. However, breaking out of that was not easy. It wasn't handed to me. It required looking at a whole lot of my identity as a victim and why I was there, what I was doing, and what created that for me to be there. And then putting up firm boundaries for myself and anyone else that, not because, well, I did it, you should have to do it. It isn't a snotty thing. It's not a I'm better than you. It's that I'm gonna play this game better than you, apparently, if you're gonna be left there to suffer in your own juices and actually be unalived in this process. It seems like it would be easier to just yield to it, to give in to it, to let go of whatever the ego battle is of, okay, fine, I wasn't correct in that. I was wrong, and admit where I have been wrong. I don't understand why there's a huge thing about that, and I understand even less that people have left this earth. I've watched them close their eyes, exhale, and leave this planet without making anything right, without doing a thing to alleviate the damage that they have done. I don't understand that personally. However, it's not my battle to fight, and I don't need to pick up the burden of that cross of why didn't they? That's part of my burden then to unload that. I don't need to know, friend. I just need to observe what's going on here, is that there's a lot of people that are chaotic, they're wild, they're spinning, they're spooling, they're spitting, they're spitting, I think I might have just spit. Soundbite and visual. You can make a meme of that. That a lot of people are spitting, hitting, and shitting their pants because they're not coping well with, this is the end of the dynasty of disaster and, authoritarianism and stuff, and it's coming down. And what aren't you seeing? Welcome to Clowntown. If we're going to really believe that we have some authority over naturally occurring events or phenomenon, or the paranormal, or God leaking, squeaking, and coming through, however people need to see this, like, what are you not seeing? I don't understand that. However, again, my burden is not to sit around wondering why or how. It's we all have eyes to see if we want to see, whether we're blind or not, whether we're deaf or not. We have the ability to feel this and to know very internally, because we've all been given the blueprint for how to do this. It's within us somewhere. It's a matter of finding it and dealing with all of the errors in our architecture of that blueprint. However, we all have a clean blueprint that we can reference within us. It's a matter of what we've been told, what we brought in with us, and what we're willing to let go of in this process. So there you go. And to anyone that's struggling with people that are really just filled with hate and resentment and wanting to, really put it out there, please accept, me tucking you into bed and saying it's really okay that people feel that way, and it's really okay that you feel the way you do, that you're not there to serve anybody else's ego. They're not there to serve yours. It's okay if you break away and do whatever it is that you have to do to move on with your life and be that combat medic for yourself first, and know that when you're putting the oxygen mask on yourself before, the people around you that would be vulnerable, you're actually doing a greater good. The greater good is not that I serve me and no one else. It's that I serve me so that I can serve you. The greater good is not for me to only exclusively think of me or you. It's to think of me serving me so that I can serve you, and me stopping and helping someone. Well, I've already got a burden to carry, dude. You can't be serious. You can't ask me to really lift that up off of you, because even if I tried, I couldn't possibly. We're both going to die, and the greater good is not for me to help one singular soul, whether it's mine or yours, without understanding the greater goal is humanity and the healing thereof. So I hope that you enjoy your day, whatever part of the day you're in. And remember, get within your skin, because you're divine. It really is absolutely fine. And whatever burden you have, it can help you unwind and unravel and get to the core of how to make that burden less. And when other people's burdens are coming your way, how to distinguish it right away of, yeah, that's not mine, and be able to tuck people in, kind of whenever you need to and when you know to, and to not even bother with that process at all. And to know too that I'm not getting into bed with you. If I tuck you in and say, sweet dreams and have good night, I mean that sincerely when I say it. However, I'm still not getting into bed with you, no matter what kind of fright is involved in that, because I can't have your nightmare with you or for you. Only you can do that, and only I can do that for me, carrying my burden everywhere that I see that there is one that's mine, and not picking up anybody else's burdens anymore. That's the old paradigm. So as I said, get within your skin and enjoy your divine, because you're divine. It is so, so lovely, so, so unburdened in its purest state. Your divine is so unburdened, and it is so, 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 so fine. Take care of your beautiful selves, and I will see you again next time. Goodbye, friends. Mwah.